What would L. Ron do about the drug epidemic? How do Scientologists view and treat drug dependency? And how many fucking rails did L. Ron Hubbard rip before writing the Xenu story? As a greasy stoner, I thought it'd be my responsibility to find out. I decided to take the free online course, The Answers to Drugs, on the Scientology website. Though you can find alternate versions of this course and resources on any number of their front group websites, such as the Foundation for a Drug-Free World and Narconon. In their eyes, all drugs are poisons, whether it be cocaine, LSD, heroin, cannabis, alcohol, painkillers, or even worse, psychiatric drugs. People have been using mind-altering substances since, well, the beginning of people. Even animals love getting fucked up. Look at this monkey. That being said, according to Scientology, rampant drug use only started in the 1960s. They say the effect of the drug depends on how much they take. If they take a small amount, it's a stimulant. If you take a large amount, it's a sedative. If you take an even larger amount, you're dead. You're gonna die. Which isn't true, but I'm not a doctor, so what do I know? I know that L. Ron Hubbard wasn't a doctor either, but drugs affect your body and your mind in ways that us non-Scientologist outsiders may not expect. But to better understand that, we need to understand, what is the mind?
Your mind is something you use to figure things out. It is far more accurate than any computer. It has a memory bank containing pictures. All the memories of everything that's ever happened to you. When you think of something, you get a picture of it. But if you can see these pictures, even when your eyes are closed, then what is it that's looking at the pictures? It's you. That part of you that is aware of being aware. In Scientology, we use the word thetan. You have a body. You have a mind. You are a thetan.
Even when you're doing drugs, your mental image camera is still snapping away, but it's fucked. Drugs supposedly put you in an unconscious state, meaning you're not really in the here and now, or as Scientologists would call it, in present time. You're now capturing false sounds, sights, and smells, essentially recording delusions. Your camera is still perfect, but you're now interlacing fucked up false memories in between them, and your brain's getting all fucking confused on what is and isn't real. According to Scientology, these distorted mental image pictures can be re-stimulated even long after you've taken the drug. But don't listen to me. Let's listen to the lovely people at Scientology front group Narconon.
Drug residues apparently remain trapped in the body's fatty tissues. These residues can be released back into the system, causing a person to re-experience the effects of drugs, even years after taking them. When a person uses drugs, their attention becomes stuck in the past. They become introverted. This worsens when the person is coming off drugs, making recovery even more difficult. The Narconon program uses unique exercises that help bring a person into the present. As a result, the person is more capable of getting through withdrawal and staying off drugs.
I hear you sitting there saying, but TALORX, that sounds all good and crazy. How do you fix this? Have no fear. I could tell you, but I'd rather show you. Never before in planetary history has there been a program so perfect that it promises to purify not only your body, but also wash your mind. Use one of our many purification treadmills to run faster than L. Ron Hubbard from the IRS. Try our patented purification program mixture of vitamins and minerals. Don't let the numbers scare you. This is astronomically more than you should ever take. But have no fear, L. Ron Hubbard's technology is here. If you feel severe skin flushing, dizziness, rapid heartbeat, itching, nausea and vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, gout, liver damage, or diabetes, that's just the drugs leaving your body. After that, it's time to turn up the heat with our non-stop sauna. Have you ever wanted to sit in a sauna for 4+ hours? Well, now is your opportunity. Don't listen to those pesky experts who tell you that you should never go in a sauna more than 45 minutes. You're a thetan, not a fucking beta. Sweating out toxins has never been scarier. Are you experiencing dehydration, hyperthermia, skin problems, cardiovascular issues? Good. That means it's working. But that's not all. You're still not in present time. So, it's time to run some objectives. Some of your favorites, such as, notice that.
Notice that chair. Thank you. Notice that desk. Good.
And who could forget, touch that.
Touch that wall. Okay. Touch the table. All right.
Wow, now you're really starting to look like a Scientologist. Make sure to hit the gift shop on the way out. And always remember, these aren't fees, they're mandatory donations. Did somebody check on him? Is he dead? Is he dead? Speaking of dead, I guess I'll never be able to ask L. Ron Hubbard what drugs he was taking while writing his works. I may not have answers, but I will always have drugs. Joining us live tonight is the ghost of L. Ron Hubbard. Our guest is a philosopher, writer, pseudoscientist, and the creator of Scientology and Dianetics. He has not been seen alive since 1986, but will be joining us in spectral form. I would like to begin by saying thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me on your program.
We've been looking into Scientology's views on and treatments of drug dependency and thought it would be best to reach out to the man himself to ask about some of the controversies that we've been hearing.
I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Many people watching today may be learning about Scientology and its treatment for drug dependency for the first time and may think, wow, this is odd. I wonder what he was smoking when he wrote this.
Those accusations are simply not true. I have never used drugs to write my works. I have always been an advocate for sobriety and clean living, and your accusations are starting to piss me off.
Can we use that? I'm not accusing you of anything, Mr. Hubbard. It's just something we hear regularly from our viewers, so I thought it would... Never mind. Let's move on, and if we could keep the language clean, this is a family show.
Then beep it. Who do you think you are telling me what I can and can't say, you f***ing piece of s***?
It seems that we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. Let's take a step back and try to get things on track. There was a court case in 1982 between the church and ex-Scientologist archivist. I believe it was the Church of Scientology, California versus Gerald Armstrong. The people can read the court transcripts and see the judgment documents as they are provided in the description. But what I really wanted to ask you about is the claim that he made after the trial about a letter you had allegedly written. I have a copy of the letter right here if you would like to read it.
Sure, I'll read it. You know your boy L. Ron be drinking lots of rum and popping pinks and grays, you know, that Davron, that Dextro. My man, I be getting lit and twisted.
What are your thoughts on the accusations that you wrote this letter back in 1967 to your ex-wife Mary Sue Hubbard while you were writing OT3, or as some may know it, the Xenu story?
It's pure nonsense. The only thing I be poppin' is that OT puss.
Mr. Hubbard, once again, I do remind you that this is a family show. Let's try not to be so crass.
It ain't crass. I just tell it how it is, bro chacho.
I guess we'll just have to let the viewers decide. Though there is no real evidence of this letter existing, other than the word of Mr. Armstrong, that was later repeated by others, there have been other claims regarding your use of mind-altering substances that I would love to ask you about.
I'ma tell you right now that it's utter bullshit, but fire away, big boy.
Your son, L. Ron Hubbard Jr., or Nibs, as he is often called, is quoted as saying to the FBI, "Between the years of 1944 and 1959, I have personal knowledge that my father regularly used illegal drugs, including amphetamines, barbiturates, and hallucinogens. He regularly used cocaine, peyote, and mescaline. My father took large doses of sulfur drugs to treat his venereal disease. All of the foregoing drugs created substantial dependence and continued deterioration of his physical, mental, and emotional faculties." He goes on to say that many of my father's writings were prepared when he was saturated with cocaine and other drugs, including hallucinogens, referring to your supposed drug-fueled occultic sex rituals that you learned from Aleister Crowley.
You know L. Ron Jr. be lying like a saying I was on amphetamines, barbiturates, hallucinogens, cocaine, peyote, and mescaline. That's simply not true. I only with dextro and alcohol.
So, Mr. Hubbard, you are saying that you do in fact drink rum and pop pinks and grays?
That letter is some bullshit. I said I don't with dextro or alcohol. Do you need to take a communications course? Move on with your questions before you interbulate me further.
I didn't mean to interbulate you, sir. Let's move on. Your book, History of Man. Your son Nibs, along with your senior medical officer, Jim Kelsey, have stated that the book was written as a result of your son's drug-fueled ramblings. Jim said in a 1997 documentary, Secret Lives of L. Ron Hubbard, that you gave your son Nibs some amphetamines, and that Nibs was talking. He said he started talking really fast from the speed, and he kept talking, and his dad kept giving him speed, and all of a sudden, he was talking about his history when he was a clam, and all these different situations in early Earth, and out of that came History of Man.
Lil Nibs be lying about the drugs I am taking. Why would he tell the truth about the drugs he is taking? That suppressive little It's ridiculous. I never gave my son amphetamines to write History of Man. People believe the most ridiculous things. It's just not true.
So you are in fact denying that you gave your son Nibs drugs to write History of Man.
What sane person would give their own child drugs just for some money, power, fame, and millions of devoted followers? Of course, I'm denying it. Next question.
Let's talk about some of your other writings. You had written a book called All About Radiation, where one of the claims was that you could cure radiation poisoning and even cancer with the use of special vitamins, leading many to believe that this is the origins of the SWEAT program, which later became the Purification Rundown and the framework of Narcanon's New Life Detoxification program, which is interesting to me, as your son also wrote, "Throughout the 1950s, my father was a heavy user of cocaine and mescaline. In fact, in 1957, when my father wrote All About Radiation by a nuclear physicist and a medical doctor, he was saturated with cocaine and severely deluded. although he was neither a medical doctor or a nuclear physicist, and he flunked the only physics course he had ever took. He was hallucinating so much at the time that he professed to have the above qualifications. What is your response to these claims?
This interview, your viewers, and you. I am done with this interview. I'm returning to the Theta realm. Off.
Fuck, he's gone. Fuck it. Fucking thing sucks. I'm out of here. Unmic me. This little fucker thinks he can walk out of my goddamn fucking ear. Wow. It really seems like we shouldn't be taking advice on drugs or really anything from that guy. He may have been a ghost, but what a miserable fuck. Life isn't easy. People who use mind-altering substances are often just trying to make their way through life. They're trying desperately to ease the pain and just keep pushing through. It's hard. And it's even harder when you have Scientology front groups specifically called Narcanon to trick you into thinking it's Narcotics Anonymous. Scientology doesn't care about people who are battling with drug dependency. They care about getting people onto Scientology courses and off of their backs. These front groups solely serve to recruit, whitewash, and obfuscate the things that the church is doing. Seeking help is difficult, but there is better help. And that's why today's video is sponsored by... Could you imagine if this was sponsored by BetterHelp? Holy shit. Besides just trying to avoid scams like Scientology and BetterHelp, there are many roadblocks that stop people from getting the help that they need. Be it financial, distance to proper care, social stigma, or other medical or mental health issues that are stopping them from being able to access care. This video is specifically about Scientology and its odd methods of helping people get off drugs. But there are many other methods, groups, rehab processes that have their myriad of problems as well. I am not an expert on drugs. I am not a doctor. I'm just a stoner who likes to learn about cults and smoke hoots while doing it. But it's because I'm not a doctor and just some guy who knows a thing or two about cults that I think it's very important that we follow evidence and science-based treatments. It's when we're most desperate that we tend to be most vulnerable. And it's important to understand that there are some organizations and even some groups that call themselves churches that want to manipulate you and take advantage of your vulnerability. Though there are some less than reputable organizations, there are some places that can genuinely help, and I've put them in the description. I would recommend staying away from 12-step programs or anything faith-based, as they do have their problems, and I can make a video or 15 about that. If you are currently battling with drug dependency or substance abuse issues, please know that it is not too late to find help. Please know that you are not broken, you are not alone, and you are loved. There's plenty of room in this community and many others for you, and I appreciate you being here. If you made it this far, I want to let you know the one thing that I'm sure everyone's been wondering. The Purification Rundown costs $2,500. Thank you for listening.